ahead and do it. And we're going in 5, 4, 3.
Hello and welcome to this installment of AP Town Hall. As you guys know, we do these about once a month, so keep checking the Full Sail one to see when we have the next one available for you guys to join us. If you can't be here in real time, that's fine. We always have these available for you guys to watch on demand after they happen. So if you could not attend live, please make sure you go back and watch these because they're always amazing. We always have great people here to either tell you new things about software or interview people in our industry. So today I would like to welcome Laura B. Whitmore. She is a highly accomplished figure in the music industry. She has experience as a founder, producer, journalist, singer-songwriter, and senior executive at Positive Grid. Positive Grid is a company dedicated to the future of music technology. Laura has a wealth of knowledge and insights to share with us. She founded the Women's International Music Network, which is an organization dedicated to supporting and empowering women in the industry. She's also the producer of the She Rocks Awards, which recognizes and honors the achievements of women in music. As a journalist, she's interviewed countless musicians and artists for outlets like Parade.com. And as a musician herself, she's released several albums and toured extensively. We're thrilled to have Laura here today to discuss her work in the industry and her thoughts on gender equity, technology, and the future of music. If you haven't guessed, today's topic is surrounding women in the industry to celebrate Women's History Month. So I am Patrice Scanlon. I'm a course director here for the Recording Arts program for Portfolio and 3 for Recording Arts. And I'm very, very happy to be here with Laura. Thank you so much for being here, Laura. Yay!
Hey, thank you. I'm excited.
She's in her Cape Cod beach house right now, y'all, so watch out. And I'm here between two ferns. If you guys don't know the reference, look it up. All right. All right, my love. So you ready? We're going to do some rapid fire questions here.
Sure.
Okay. So what's the best advice you've ever received, and who was it from?
You know, I had to really think about this one because I give a lot of advice.
Right?
And I was like, what advice have I gotten? I don't know. But I recently got some advice, maybe like yesterday even, from a friend of mine who mentioned this thing about like when you get to a senior executive level, like people don't pat you on the back every day. They're not like telling you what a great job you're doing, right?
Right.
So she said, you know, make a folder and like every time somebody says something good about something you did, put it in there. And that way when you're feeling kind of down, you can go back and look in the folder and be like, oh yeah, like people think I rock. So I love that idea.
Yes, I love that idea.
And one other thing, this is like years and decades ago even.
Okay.
I saw a review in the New York Times for this book called The Power of Nice.
Okay.
And at the time I was in a very stressful job working at Korg USA. And somebody asked me why I was being so bitchy. So I was like, oh my God, am I being bitchy? That's terrible. And then I saw this book and I read it and it's about using or inserting kindness into your business world.
Okay.
And I thought that this book is awesome. I always recommend it to people. So check out The Power of Nice because I want to put kindness into the world. So.
Me too. I love that. And you know, it's odd because people have this idea that being nice is a sign of weakness for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's time to flip the script on that. Like, we mean business, we're here to get it done, but kindness is something we can all extend, right?
Because I think too, like people in business want to work with people they like, right?
Yes.
Like that's sort of like a general, thing in the world. So if you can motivate people with kindness, if you can be the person that people want to work with,
right,
because they like being around you, like there's nothing bad about that.
Right, yeah. The word nice doesn't have to mean weak. right?
Yeah.
I love that. That is such a
Yeah.
great idea. I think everybody needs to do that on any level, you know, because like you said, in this industry, we just don't unfortunately have the time to pat each other on the backs and tell each other, you know, that was really good about this mix or this song or this
Yeah.
idea. It's just, we need to get this out. So here is a list of 12 things we need to be changed or improved. And if you don't have thick skin, that can feel like everything you do is wrong. And that's not the case. It's just, it has to be perfect. So we're going to
Yeah.
focus on what needs to be improved, not, hey, this is what you did great, right?
Yeah, it's really tough, and usually those moments go by really quickly. Like, oh, I love that thing you did. Now let's talk about this. You know, it's like boom, it's gone already.
Oh, I like that you
So,
get a, I
yeah.
love that thing you did before the list comes. That's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly thinking about marketing, which you know is like you're always like, what have we done today to make people care? So, yeah.
I love it. So who was one of your proudest interviews?
Yeah, I've done, like you said, tons and tons of interviews over the years for all different media outlets. But one that really stands out to me was I was producing and occasionally hosting an interview series with AOL Build,
Okay.
like a live stream series. And I got to interview Amy Lee from Evanescence, who I'm a big fan of.
Nice.
But it was really cool because she had just put out a kids album, a children's album.
What? I had no idea.
So I got to talk to her about her children's album, and it was right before Evanescence was going to go on tour too. So we just had this great chat, and this question got me to thinking about like what makes a great interview, right? And I think it's when you really click with the interview subject, and you guys just feel like you're having a conversation, and I always love to like start with the business pieces and then explore like something that resonates and what the person is saying and take it to like another place that maybe not every journalist has asked them about 20 times, you know?
Right.
And for my podcast, I do a podcast, the She Rocks podcast. And I interviewed Lindsay Sterling just a couple months ago, the violinist. And that was a great interview because we just got really deep into, some of the things she really cared about, and it was a really fun, natural feeling interview.
Oh,
so
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't know kids.
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
this was years ago, but it stands out to me because she was so cool, and it was.
Oh, I
felt
love
like I
this.
was
I'm gonna have to go look for
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
I
look
had
for
no
that.
idea.
I hope it's still online somewhere.
It better be on Spotify. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right. So what's one thing most people don't know about you? Ooh.
Oh my God, I had to really think about
I
this
know.
too because I'm so out there talking about myself all the time. But I will say that I have recently really gotten into sewing, which is hilarious.
Okay, I love
'Cause
this.
I bought my son a sewing machine, and he is like in Australia right now studying abroad. So
Okay,
I was
wow.
like, this like top of the line sewing machine. I wouldn't have even bought that for myself. It's like buying an awesome piece of gear, right?
Right.
So I tried it, and I was like, this is like the Ferrari of sewing machines. I need to sew. So I've been sewing.
What are you making? What have you made?
I've made curtains for like every room you can imagine.
There we go. So now you got your little Etsy store going too.
Now I'm like, what else can I sew?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's like the thing, like a good piece of gear can inspire you.
Yeah, that's really true. And just like, oh, I don't want it to sit here and collect dust. I might as well make use of it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I should try that because the one I had for myself from like years ago is so terrible, and this one is, oh my gosh, it practically does everything for you. So,
Yeah, I know. It's the importance of a good tool, right?
yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah.
Splurge on the good tool.
So good. And also, I think, we get so caught up in being a musician, being a songwriter, and just being in that world all the time. I think it's really nice to be able to step out and do something else, whether it's creative or not. Like for me personally, it's gardening. Like getting my hands in dirt and just being like, not connected to the internet, and it just like, it helps me refocus. So when I come back to the music, it feels
Yeah.
fresh again, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like it. And in the summer when it's hot here in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
I literally will put into my calendar, jump in the ocean. Like I'll block off
Yes.
half an hour and I'll just walk down the street and jump in the ocean for like 20 minutes because you got to reset your brain.
Yeah.
somehow,
Yeah. Roscoe Mitchell, the best thing he ever said to me was, music's always going to be there. Sometimes you just need to take a break from her. You know, go
Yeah.
paint, go garden, go cook, go sew, you know, and then come back to it. And usually if you're like feeling stuck or kind of hit a wall, whatever that block was, you can come back to it and feel open again.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite way too. Like, you know, you're in business or working, and then if you allow yourself to take like that musical break,
Yep.
20 minutes, I'm going to pick up my guitar. Like, no one's going to die if I do that,
Right,
you know?
right.
And it really just helps like refresh everything else that you're doing. So,
Okay. Yeah. So what's your favorite album of all time? That's a hard one.
yeah,
I'm
that's a
sorry.
super hard one. But I will say that Tapestry by Carole King is like,
Nice. Yes.
that's like the first thing that popped into my head. Because when I was younger, I probably played that 1,000
Aw,
times.
I
And
love it.
I was very fortunate to get to meet Carole King and spend like half a day
Nice.
with her. And I just love everything about her. And I saw her on TV the other day. She's like 80 something and
I
she's still
know.
out there
Such an
doing,
icon, right?
doing stuff. And I just love her songwriting and I love her. People have told me I look like her, which I'm like, that's okay.
You're like, I'll take that.
I'll take that. So I love her, but I also like, I listen to so much contemporary music. And I would just say like one album or one recent album that I really love is the Wet Legs new album,
Okay.
which I think is really cool. And I get hit with a lot of like people pitch me to write stories and stuff. And it's always nice when you get something that sounds really fresh and different
Yes.
in your inbox. So Wet Leg, really cool stuff.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. You're giving me all the homework to do. I love this. All right, here's a fun one, y'all. You guys ready for this one? If you could collaborate with any musician, dead or alive, who would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I of course, right after that thought, I had to think like, oh, if I could ever write with Carole King, that would be like my ultimate thing, which would be so cool. But also, like, you guys probably don't know who she is, but I have this friend. Her name's Susan Cattaneo, and she used to run songwriting for Berklee College of Music.
Oh, great.
And she left to just do music, and she's so awesomely cool, and I love her, and I would love to collaborate with her. So
Awesome. Awesome.
putting that out in the world, Susan. Hey.
Yeah, okay. I hope you got that. All right, so what are you currently working on that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I'm like gonna switch gears because I'm really focused on two things. One is we have new product launch from Positive Grid this week.
Woo.
So very, very excited about that. Takes a lot of prep work
Yes.
to get ready for that. And I run the entire marketing team at Positive Grid. So we're doing a huge global launch of
That's a
a
lot.
product. It's a really exciting
Yeah.
project. And it's fun for me to be really creative from the marketing side of my brain too. So that's been really fun. And then also, of course, I have the She Rocks Awards coming up next month in Anaheim during the NAMM show on April 13th.
Yes.
So putting that all together is always fun and exciting. And I always try to find something different and cool to do with the show. So
Nice.
that's been my focus right now.
So you just said the magic words, pre-production, right? So you say you're about to launch a new product this week, but I just want to know, what was the timeline? Like, how long have you been working on this? Has it been like 3 months or?
Yeah, it's probably been about 4 months of prep work for that. Like we were shooting video in January for it. Once we got product samples.
Wow, nice.
Prepping the website, the whole thing. It's interesting because I've been with Positive Grid for 3 years, and before that, I had my own agency, and they were my client for 2 years. So I've been working for 5 years. I feel like every time we do a product launch, like we've evolved, so we're very together. for
Right.
this launch, and the assets we created are so cool.
That's awesome.
I feel like we're really honed in on who we're talking to and what we're trying to say. So
Right.
I'm really
Yeah,
excited about
so
it.
that's so cool. So you've had like multiple iterations to do this, then you're saying. So that like post-mortem is so important
Yes.
to like
Oh.
after it happens, to while it's still fresh in everybody's minds, let's get
Yes.
together, let's talk about what worked, what we can improve upon. And then like you said, you're just building this wealth of knowledge
Yeah.
so that the next time it'll be smoother, but then you'll still find out, hey, you know what? It would have been better if we did X, Y, Z. So
Yeah, there's always learnings, right? There's
Right.
always learnings. But you're right. We have a formal process to do that where we all get together
Yeah.
and we take notes in a form like we had, and we talk about different aspects of the product launch or the project that we did, and what went right and what went wrong, and what was really effective and what we could have done differently
totally.
next time.
And you
it is
gotta
so
catch
valuable.
that. Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
catch that right after it happens too.
Yeah.
Like you can't wait a month later, because
No.
then
You're
people
working on something else already.
right, people are already on the next thing. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. That's over. We already did that.
Yeah, and even
right?
for the She Rocks Awards, we do it. And then when we're planning the next one, we're like, okay, like, what did we say? Like, you can go back and look at your notes from like 6 months ago, right? And be like, all right,
Okay.
what did we say last time? Oh,
Okay.
yeah, like, let's not forget to do that this time. We forgot.
Ooh,
last time.
that's such a good
Yeah.
point too. Writing that all down
Oh, yeah, no, we write it all down.
so that
Yeah.
you know, if it isn't just going to be back to back to back to back to back, like you're saying, there was like a 6-month gap. Being able to
Yeah.
go back and review those notes is critical. I'm just,
Yeah, you don't want to make the same mistakes twice.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just trying to let our students know that documentation is so important, and pre-production is so important. Like I know you guys
Yeah.
want to get into it and get started, but I'm telling you, the more time you can spend kind of ironing everything out, getting all the pieces together, it just makes the moment when you start the production or release the new product or do the interview, it's just going to make all of that go so much more smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, preparation is like, it's probably one of the most important things ever, because once you launch or once you're at the event or whatever, like you're dealing with other stuff.
Right.
There's always unexpected things that come up. So you want to take the expected things and make sure those are all like sewn up, right?
Amen.
So that you can
Amen.
just be dealing with the unexpected things when they happen.
Do you spend a lot of time worrying about the unexpected? I know I'm one of these people.
Not really. I mean, I've
Okay.
done this so many times that I'm like, I'm usually already in like a proactive troubleshooting mode. So
Okay.
I'm like, okay, what's happening that we need to fix, and what can we do to fix it? And that's all I'm focused on.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. I'm just like, okay, what can we do? What are
I
our
have a
options?
tendency to be like, all right, so if this goes wrong, then we can do this. And then if this goes wrong, we can do this. And then guess what? None of those things ever happen. But something totally I never even thought would happen is what like
Yeah,
comes
usually
about,
it's
you
something
know?
unexpected, because
Right.
like the things you would expect, you're already prepared for. Hopefully,
Exactly.
right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So I've
Yeah.
learned, don't do that because it's a waste of your time, and just be prepared, like you said, for what you can be prepared for, because what you're not ever expecting to happen is going to happen, and you
Yeah.
just got to go through it as gracefully as possible, right?
I always felt like anything in life,
Yeah.
you know, here's something I've learned, like even when
Yes.
you get to like the top level, like people don't know everything, right? Like
Yeah.
you're always winging it to some degree. Like not everyone isn't just going to know what to do
Right.
all the time, but it's more like thinking about like, what are my resources if something does go wrong, or if I need to do something and I don't know how to do it? Like, where can I go to figure that out?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like that with production too. It's like, okay, oh no, I don't have enough guitar stands. What do I do? Like, oh no, this happened. Like, oh my gosh, this video didn't work. What do I do? Like, you have to just already have those resources like in your database so that you're not looking for the resource while you're looking for the solution. you know?
Exactly. In the moment, live, whatever it may be, right? Yeah, we don't want to do that. But the show must go on too, right?
Yeah.
So there's a
And
little
lots of times people have no idea what you were going to do. So you can
exactly.
wing
And
it.
that's another thing, like I think for newer people, is never let them know that something went wrong, right? Like you can totally give it away, but if you never
they don't know.
acknowledge that
They won't know.
that video didn't happen or that light cue didn't happen, whatever it is,
Yeah.
if you could just be cool about it, most of the time people are not going to know that that was not
Oh
there.
my God, I could totally write a book about all the things that have gone wrong.
Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah, nobody will know.
What they don't know. Okay, that's the title.
Yes, here we go.
Yep. So just don't give it away. Just be like, yep, that was totally meant to happen, and just keep going, right? All right. So now we're going to go a little bit more long form. So you've worked a variety of roles in the music industry. How have these experiences shaped your perspective on the industry as a whole?
Yeah, it's interesting. I spent 20 years at Korg USA, working as a marketing manager there. And when I left to start my own agency, it was like a huge shift in my career. And I think, I don't want to get too into it, but I was like kind of disappointed when I left Korg. Things happened,
I'm sorry.
And-
it happens
and, like,
to the best of us.
Yeah, and you always think like, oh, this is like terrible. It's the end of the world. And usually I've learned that those things are the things that are like the best thing that ever happened to you later.
The
'Cause they
blessing
force
in
you-
disguise, right?
Yeah, blessing in disguise, massive blessing in disguise. Force you to realize that there's more to you than you thought, and that maybe you haven't set your bar high enough. And
Oh,
that
I love it. Yeah.
You accomplish like your expectation, right? And there's been several times in my career where I was put in these positions where I'm like, can I actually do this? And you just take that leap of faith and you're like, whoa, I guess I didn't set the bar high enough before, because
Yep.
like we can do so much more than we think we're capable of.
Amen.
And I've definitely learned that over the years. And I think that my experience, I've been doing this for a long time now, that I don't know if it's women or just people in general, like we have a lot of self-doubt. We have a lot of like, oh, there's no like point A to point B in the music industry.
Right.
It's a lot of like, being in the right place at the right time and just getting out there and sticking your neck out,
Yeah.
So, I always say that if you just show up, that's probably like 50% of what creates success for you. Because like,
I love it.
just be there. I can't even tell you like how many opportunities I've had because I was there and I said, hey, and we just had a chat and I was like, oh, like, let's keep in touch or whatever. And then I do keep in touch and then something comes up. It's unbelievably powerful.
Right.
That connection that you make with people. So, I'm a lot about connection. And when I think about sales, even, which like everybody hates selling, right? But when, we have to sell sponsorships to create the She Rocks Awards and things like that. But I approach it as, what are your goals and what are my goals and what can we do together to meet both of our goals? And
like
then it's
that.
about creating solutions. It's not about trying to get somebody to buy something that they don't want.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, so that's how I think about it.
I love it. So yeah, I mean, that kind of touches on this imposter syndrome thing, right? And I think every
Really
musician, every songwriter, every business owner has those moments and has those things like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm not good enough. Why do I think I'm good enough to do this? Whatever that narrative is. But just know, youngins out there, that this happens to everybody, and don't feel like you are isolated on an island by yourself, or I'm new at this, so I'm not good at anything. Like, you gotta push through that and understand that everybody's gonna feel that moment here and there. But I mean, I guess the answer is practice and doing it over and over again, and building your confidence, getting that feedback from other people and peers that you're doing a good job also is helpful. But just know that is a real thing, and don't feel bad if you're experiencing that, because I think everybody goes through that at some point.
Yeah. It's funny. I joined this like group of senior executive women in business, not just the music business, just out there, and everybody in the group was like, oh yeah, I feel that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a human
thing.
Like when you are constantly like pushed out of your comfort zone and like taking that leap of faith a lot, like when you're leading, there's nobody showing you the way, right? You're like, okay, I'm trusting my gut. Like my gut was good before, I must be okay now. And like, you're not always going to be right, but you have to know that everybody's doing that.
Yeah, sure. I love it. And I love that you also said, you just said yes. You know, that's also a really good trait is like
Yeah,
if
you
you're
gotta say yes.
if you're in a conversation, I mean, I've gotten myself in those situations all the time where someone was like, "Oh, we need, you know, XYZ to happen in this dance performance and there's no technology to do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll create a max patch to make sure all that happens." And then I'm like, "Wait a minute, I don't know how to do that."
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like you see there's a solution that needs to be found. And I don't know, I'm just the type of person who wants to help and wants to make it happen. And then I take a step back and I'm just like, oops, I said yes to something I don't know how to do. But you're right, it's those moments where you say yes and not, you maybe don't know how to do it, but you have enough confidence in yourself to say, you know what, I've been in this situation before, I've made it work, so let's make that magic happen again, right?
But I think too, like that's how when you're first starting out, you create value in yourself, right?
Totally.
Like if you're
Yeah.
in that place and you see there's a need and you think you can figure it out, and you say, "Hey, let me give it a shot. I think I can figure this out for you."
Yeah.
Then you create that value. People are like, "Oh, they figured this thing out. Maybe they can figure this other thing out." for me,"
Exactly.
and
Now,
people need that.
I haven't been in a situation where it failed, so I can't really give advice on that. Totally.
Yeah, that part really sucks. But like I said,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
failures are like the awesome later looking back pivotal moments in your life. So
I don't know, somehow,
No.
some way I made it work, but yeah, I can't. If it failed, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. All right, so let's go rewind a little bit and
No.
let's talk about some of your earlier stages of your career, and let's focus on like maybe some of the first jobs or experiences that helped shape your professional path. And at the same time, if you could elaborate a little on your philosophy and work ethic when it comes to opportunities and obstacles within these examples, which we kind of just touched on, but we could probably find something
Okay.
else to go deeper on.
Yeah. I mean, my first job out of college, I worked at CBS Records for the direct marketing division, which
Okay.
was Columbia House. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes. You don't know how many CDs I got for a
yeah.
penny.
I got lots of free CDs when I worked there. But I wanted to be an artist when I went into music business because it was a compromise with my parents. They were business
I
people.
love this. Yes.
And so I started out at CBS and I was like, oh, this is just okay. I was like an assistant to a VP, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then I found out about the job at Korg USA working in the marketing team. And so I switched over to Korg, and I didn't really have marketing training. I was, a music business major in college, back when that major was not common at all. I went to
Right.
Hofstra in New York. And so I went back to school and I got my MBA in marketing.
Wow. Good for you.
And I was very fortunate because Korg was very invested in their people and they encouraged us to learn something every year. So I learned graphic design. I
Nice.
did audio engineering. I learned how to be an editor. I learned how to just a million things.
When you say editor, what I mean, that could refer to
I was the editor of their magazine.
Okay, so like
Yeah.
that kind
So
of
that's
editing.
how I learned to write and edit.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to interview people because of that. I learned so many things from being there. So I had my boss was a great mentor, and I was very fortunate to just enhance my skills. So I would encourage you, even if you don't have somebody saying to you, you should learn something every year.
Right.
Learning something new that just provides another piece of value to you personally, but also to the world. And it keeps it interesting,
Definitely.
And then later when I left there and started my own agency, I used all those skills because I had different clients that had all different needs. So I would just do whatever, they needed. I was the graphic designer. I was their publicist. I was, their whole marketing team, whatever.
Exactly. Wow. That's
But I also, when I was in school, I worked at a recording studio for a while. I thought I wanted to be an audio engineer, so I took some audio recording classes. This is when we still used tape back in
It's okay. It's
back
all
in
right.
the world.
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
in the other world. So I think and then as I was working for myself, that's when I started the Women's International Music Network and the She Rocks Awards. And I think what I learned from all that is you start off your career thinking, I want to be this thing.
Right.
And it never, like for me, it never went that way. It was such a winding road. And I think it's like what you said, I came to a door and I was like, I'm going to say yes to this door. And I learned so much about myself. I was producing a live stream series for like 5 years in New York City.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was just like, that sounds fun. Let's try it. And
Right.
like,
yeah.
nobody's there telling you what to do or telling you can or can't do it. I was just like,
Amen.
I bet I could figure out how to live stream. This is like early days of live streaming. We're like multi-camera, full audio live streaming.
Oh, I know, right?
From the cutting room in New York, it was complicated to figure it out,
Yeah.
So we're just,
There was an app called Livestream, right?
Yeah, we didn't use that app. We used some hardware for it, which was
Wow.
But it and I'm not like I wouldn't call myself a super technical person, although I think I have a really good understanding of like music gear and technology.
Right.
But I do think that whole like sort of positive mindset of this seems interesting to me. I'm going to give it a try. If it doesn't work out, no one's going to die.
Right.
And
I know that's the one thing I think we have to recognize as audio professionals. Yes, it's high intensity moments, but at the end of the day, we're not performing brain surgery, so no one's gonna die. It's all okay.
And you said, sometimes things don't work out, but if you can take those learnings and like move to the next step.
Yeah.
I think. There have been some really tough times. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
In the end, right now, I feel like I really paid my tuition for everything I learned, and being at where I am at Positive Grid now, and we're still doing my music and doing what I do for the women's group. It's like really fulfilling and fun to me and creative. So.
Yeah, so I love that you said, keep learning something new every year. Now, for those of you who are students right now, you're like, hey, I'm learning something new every month. Where do I find that time? Because it is a really condensed schedule we have here, I'm not going to lie. So, in the beginning, I think like you guys have a lot of things to focus on and learn. But I think as you move through the program, you'll start to see you get a little bit more free time. And like she's saying, in that free time, find another skill. One thing I'm seeing a lot in job, what do you call those? Job requirements, for job descriptions, for, jobs that are available. Not only are they looking for somebody who has audio chops, they're also looking for people who have video chops as well. So maybe that means just start opening up iMovie, start basic and small, and just learn how to put video clips together. Then maybe move up to like Final Cut Pro and start using maybe a more professional, or Premiere by Adobe is another one that's really useful out there. Just start learning some of the basics of video editing and transitions and things like that. That might open another door for you guys. Because then, everybody in this program is going to have a lot of audio skills. How can you make yourself stand out from the audio? Your peers, maybe just having that little added graphic design or video editing, just so you have that extra little layer that maybe makes you stand out against everyone else applying for that job. Could be really great. So very good. I love all of this. All right, so as the founder of the Women's International Music Network, what sparked you to start this organization, and how has it evolved since you started it?
Yeah, so we were launched in 2012. I was working, one of my clients was Guitar World magazine.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was writing and editing and doing marketing for them. And this is like right when blogs were starting to become popular. They were like, hey, like come help us think of some blog ideas for our new website. And I was like, okay, I brainstormed a bunch of ideas. And one of them was, hey, what if we do a blog that's focused on women who play guitar? Because like women weren't covered very much in that magazine.
Right.
I was very male focused.
Uh-huh.
So they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Who can we get to write that? And I was like, hey, I'll write it, you know? So I launched the blog called Guitar Girled and on guitarworld.com.
I love it.
And I started interviewing female guitar players and women in the music industry. And that's when my eyes really opened to, hey, we don't know each other. I keep hearing the same stories. Like they thought I was the merch girl. They thought I didn't know how to plug my gear in, like all these things.
Nice.
And so that I sort of like got into that, and I said, like we need some kind of event for the women in the industry to like get to know each other. That was the first thought
Amen.
into my head. And I go to the NAMM show every year. It's the big trade show in the industry that I was focusing on, the music gear industry. And so I was like, oh, what if we do an event at NAMM where we just bring the women together so we can meet each other?
Right.
And from that sort of evolved into the She Rocks Awards, which started out as a breakfast, the cheapest meal of the day. And I got some sponsors to help pay for that, and we just brought people together. But as I was working on that event, I was thinking, oh, well, it can't just be about this one event. Like we need like an organization so that it's about more than just this event. It's about this movement of empowering women, giving women a voice, creating opportunity, all of that. So we launched the Women's International Music Network and the She Rocks Awards at the same time, and did the first couple of events as a breakfast. And then in the third year, the NAMM organization that does the trade show came to me and they were like, hey, we love the She Rocks Awards, and we have this ballroom that we've outfitted for another event. I think it was the Tech Awards or some other event that they do. Do you want to use it for the She Rocks Awards? And I was like, I was having this breakfast of like 200 people, and now they gave me a ballroom that fit like 800 people with these huge stages and like, a jib and the whole thing, like it was giant. And I was freaking out because I'm like, oh, I had to raise my budget 5 times as much.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like what I was talking about before, that leap of faith moment where I was like, okay,
I'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Like, it's like, do it Friday night and use this ballroom. And I'm like, if I don't say yes to this, like I might never have that opportunity again.
Right. Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah. And I was super fortunate that I knew somebody who was a record producer, who was a really good friend of mine, and he helped me so much. He was like, let me introduce you to this person, I can get this person to come. I mean, we got the Bengals to come. We got like all these people, that I was like, okay, like we can do this. And he's actually the first man that I gave a She Rocks Awards to, because he was so awesome. But, the whole organization is set up to share what role models in the industry are doing. We interview tons of women in music and audio. We have podcasts. We have a video podcast. We have hundreds of interviews on our website. We host panels. We host showcases. We have advice. Like we just are kind of a hub for what other women's organizations are doing. So the goal has really been to just shine a spotlight, have a bigger voice for women in the industry. There's definitely been change since we launched in 2012. It's our 11th year doing the She Rocks Awards.
Wow.
And it's I can't of course tell you like, oh, we're good, like we can be done. There's always so much to do, but we're definitely getting more support, and people are recognizing that it's a really important issue, and not just about gender equality in the industry, but diversity in general.
Amen.
Super important. So.
Yeah. Well, I love that approach, because maybe you start with just helping women understand there's other women in this industry, because if I see it in my class every month. I get new class every month, about 25 students. This month I have 1 female student, so sometimes I have none. Sometimes I have 2. So if you're that woman sitting in that classroom, it could feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the only person here, So I think by showing women that, hey, look, let's introduce each other to each other. Like there's lots of us here doing this. You're not alone. And then taking that and catalyzing it, so now it's not just about these women knowing these other women are in the industry, but letting other people in the industry know that they're there. And definitely, do you think doing more like inclusion when it comes to like socioeconomic or skin color, do you feel like that is going to start being embraced in your
Yeah, I think it's really important. We're like very aware of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we celebrate women at the She Rocks Awards,
Right.
but we're very aware of, you know, racial diversity, genre diversity, like, you
Yep.
know, all those things just to be helpful in making
And then gender
others more
identity
aware.
itself,
Yeah,
you
gender
know, like
identity,
it's,
everything.
there's a
Yeah,
lot
so-
to
Yep. There's a lot to unpack
tackle.
there, but it's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even if you look at it from the business perspective, like all those people
There you
are
go.
out there in the world,
And
like,
they're ready to spend their
potential-
money.
yeah, they're potential customers for you. If you're not thinking about them, then you're missing an opportunity. and-
Amen.
And it's just dumb to
Exactly.
I'm just gonna say it. It's just dumb
Exactly.
to not go there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like the focus is still going to remain on women. So maybe like a diversity and
it is
gender
going to
identity.
remain on women, but I mean, before COVID happened, we were doing a lot of conversations just about diversity. It wasn't about women.
Okay.
Like I was
Yeah.
hosting a lot of, and even hosting panels that had diverse members on the panel.
Right.
But always making sure that there's women.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's like this. I mean, it's just probably part of your next question, but I'm going to say it now anyway.
No.
It's not easy to make sure that what you're doing has diversity. Like sometimes it requires substantial effort,
Yes.
you know, to find diverse people for your panel
Right.
or, you know, diverse point of view when you're launching a campaign or whatever it is. And, you know, that's one of our roles as well. Like people come to us a lot. Hey, can you help us find some women? We just did that with a major brand. They're like, we want to do some content that includes women. Can you help us find
Right.
some of these types of people? And we're like, yeah, we know tons of women doing
Right.
things of all types. So it requires effort and, you know, but putting in the effort is.
And
when we're
also,
there.
your one or two organizations can't take on everything, right?
No.
So, and then if you start, it almost would feel like a dilution, right? Like you're diluting it if more was included in it, maybe. So maybe for those of you watching today, like maybe take her ideas and her path and make your own path for inclusion of, you know, socioeconomic backgrounds or
Yeah.
gender identity, culture and diversity and
Yeah, you
and-
can't do everything, but do
Right.
the thing that you're passionate about because it is work. Like it does require like a lot of effort.
Oh,
to
I'm
do it,
sorry.
so-
Did you say you have to work? Right? Like that's another thing, you guys. Like the work never stops,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
learning never stops. Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta put in the time. Like I wish all of you could do one banger hit and never have to work again in your life. But you know, I think for most of us, we're gonna have to, you know, put it in grind and work.
Yeah.
All right, so let's round this off. First of all, I'm not sure, do we have any people in the audience with questions? We can start thinking about that. Type it in the chat now so we can get to you guys. Also, I'd like you all to go to Laura's website, which is www.thewim as in Mark, N as in Nancy.com. The WIMN. I
Yes,
think it's on the
women.
the full
Thewomen.com.
the women. There we go. Got you. So if you go to the Full Sail One page, I'm pretty sure that link is there for you guys because on there, on her website, she's got such great advice and resources, podcasts, notes.
Yeah, and you can join our newsletter and
See,
we'll tell you when new things come up.
so and anybody can join that. You don't have to be
Anybody.
a woman,
It's free. It doesn't cost any money. Go
right?
sign up.
I love all of that. So
You don't have to be a woman. Everybody.
yeah, and I mean, I would love to sit here and ask her everything today, but unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. So, to make sure you guys don't miss anything, please go check out that website so you guys can get so much more from Laura because she just has a wealth of knowledge to share with you guys. All right, so do we have any Q&A from there? Okay, so I think this one's important because I think so many times someone like you or me are giving women advice on how to navigate through this industry. And I think there's a lot of resources out there now for that. But I think something we could all be doing better is helping our allies, our male counterparts in the industry, and give them some advice. So what advice would you give to allies who are interested in supporting women in the music industry? And do you have, I mean, you did talk about that one gentleman that you gave him a She Rocks Awards, but maybe there's somebody else you can talk about that gave you that moment of allyship. And then that'll be our last question for today.
Okay. Well, I do think, we do have people approach us quite often. Oh, we love what you're doing. We want to be a part of it. How can we help?
Right?
And, once in a while we'll have like a specific ask, like, oh, we need volunteers for the She Rocks Awards to do this. Like, that's really specific, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, like, we don't know them. We don't know what their area of expertise is. It is so much better for us if someone comes to us and says, hey, I'm a publicist. Like, can I do PR for you guys as my volunteer element to help you get the word out about what you're doing? Or, hey, I'm an audio engineer. Like, can I record your show for you and I'll put the finished files out, whatever it is. Like, it's really hard for us to think about like, oh, this person came to us and now we have to research who they are and think about what they could do for us. But if they came to us with an idea of, oh, hey, I'm a writer. I'd love to write some blog posts for you. Like, I want to support you, or I'd love to share what you're doing.
Okay.
I'm an influencer. I have a huge following. So I think if you see somebody that you really like what they're doing, like our organization or another organization, if you can approach them with, hey, I want to be involved, and I was thinking maybe I could do this for you.
Okay.
I think that's really, really helpful because we all do this on the side. Like, this is not our full-time job, and we're so challenged with, our limited resources and what we can do to make things happen. I think too, like, we have an advisory board that's really awesome, and a lot of times, they'll help us find people to honor, or they'll bring in sponsors or things like that, and that kind of stuff really helps us. I mean, of course, we always need like financial support to do what we want to do. I was thinking about what you said. Can you give us a specific example? And I'm gonna name a company because they've been so awesome and supportive.
Okay.
So we work a lot with Sweetwater.
Nice.
And
Yes.
Sweetwater has been a huge supporter of what we do, and they will actually go out and bring an artist in to be honored at the She Rocks Awards, and they'll pay for their travel, and they'll get them lined up, and they'll make sure that everything's taken care of, and they'll support us with a sponsorship, and they'll share through their socials what we're doing.
Wow, that's
they
huge.
think about like, oh, we have these connections, we have these resources, like, we're gonna do this thing for you, and it's great for them and it's great for us. And I think too, when it's approached from like a win-win for everybody, like, they have goals, they want to reach more women, they want to be supportive of women in the industry. They
There you
want
go. Yeah.
to sell to more women. Like, it's a great, mutual sort of relationship. So, and most of the people that we're working with at Sweetwater are men, but they totally get it and they love supporting us, and they're just, very open-minded and awesome. So, there's a few companies like that, Sweetwater, PRS Guitars, like Martin Guitar, like, they're just like,
And it seems like a no-brainer, right? Because
seems like a no-brainer.
I think women are 53% of the population right now. So why would you, as a business owner, why would you try to exclude that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think like if you're think about approaching like, those things, and that's like a good foot in the door in some ways
Right.
for other things too, because, we have these events and there's like tons of people there that you can meet. I've always said like panels are a secret weapon to meet really high up people in the industry.
Amen.
If you can go there in person, because you can just go after and say, oh, I loved your chat. Like, can I talk to you? And they'll be like, yeah, let's talk. But yeah, I think just thinking about it from that perspective of what can I bring to the table? Is there something I can do to help? Let me offer an idea. you know.
Yes. And approaching it like there's something beneficial for everybody
Yeah,
here.
yeah, right.
Instead
It's
of like a
win-win.
else,
Yeah.
like why aren't you doing this? But instead, like,
Yeah.
how can we all benefit?
Because it's hard. I mean, we have to carve time in our lives, and we
Right.
have, you know, full-time jobs and like so many things going on. So
All right. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for being here with us
Yeah,
today. It's
thank
been
you.
amazing. I could go on and on. I feel like we could do this another 2 hours, but unfortunately, we are out of time. So
yes, it's my pleasure. But I will just say this: the She Rocks Awards is April 13th. We stream it live.
let's do
So if you
it.
go up on the web, we have a website for the awards, sherocksawards.com. You can sign up and you'll get a link to just watch it for free
Okay,
live
I'm
when it
there.
happens on April 13th. Or if you happen to be at NAMM and you want to come, it is open to the public and we sell tickets. So check it out.
Yeah.
It's a fun
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laura. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you do. We appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Really quick, I want to shout out to the ABT team
Yes.
and volunteers who have helped us put this
Thank you,
together.
guys.
You guys have done a wonderful job. We did a very exciting event with someone remote and someone here, so that's always cool to see. Okay,
Talk about
Thanks,
fresh,
guys.
expanding your limits of what you can do, right?
absolutely. So great job, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.